Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind Podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Monday. It's January 16th. It's 2023. We have 5 games to talk about on the main slate today. Martin Luther King Day. Listen, if you haven't educated yourself, now's the time. But I'm gonna leave it at that. We got our buddy Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, we got a Monday. We got a 5-game daytime NBA slate today. What's happening, my friend?
Nothing much, man. Super pumped to be on and celebrate the Martin Luther King slate, if you will, and all he's done to help the country and help things progress. Even though I know it was a long time ago, I think it's always good to honor him and everything he did for civil rights. So pretty excited to come on this pod, and I know we'll see some things. My fraternity actually is a part of the reason why we have a Martin Luther King statue in Washington. So
that's awesome.
So it's a really cool thing, and man, excited to come on. So let's get rolling.
Yeah, I mean, he changed the United States forever, and we should celebrate him. I didn't mean to shorten what I was saying. I was just saying, if you haven't educated yourself on Martin Luther King, the dude was the easiest way to say it, I think, is just he was a pillar in history. So if you haven't educated, I have young kids, so coming up to this week, school, you have your kids learning about it. So every year, when it comes to this time, you get refreshed and stuff like that on the subject. And my daughter came home from school the other day, and she's like, "Did you know that the family of Martin Luther King filed a case and won against the government?" I was like, "That's a fact I didn't know." So there you go. There you go. So, but yes, Martin Luther King Day. I mean, it's so cool, some of the stuff you can read about him too. But anyway, let's talk some basketball. Football in the books, kind of. We got Tampa Monday Night Football. I don't know what the NFL is doing with the schedule. Not saying that I hate it, but I don't know why they didn't just go 3-3. So it is what it is. But we have 5 games today on the NBA slate. The 3 and 4 o'clock game is the main slate, and that's what we're going to talk about because that's where a lot of the contests and stuff are. Props and everything, obviously, you can jump on that stuff across the board. But let's talk about this 5-game, 3 p.m. Eastern slate. And we got some day basketball. Love day basketball. Love day baseball. Don't get me wrong. Love day baseball, but love me some day basketball as well. We get started here. New Orleans at Cleveland. We got a 223.5 total. Some books have it at 225.5, and most books have it at Cavs minus 6.5. On the New Orleans side, Ingram is out. Herb Jones is questionable, and Zion remains out as well. On the Cleveland side, Mobley is down with the G League, so he's out. Isaiah Mobley, that is. Wade and Windler remain out. So over the weekend, Rubio came back from the injury reserve. Was it on the 12th? So I guess it wasn't even technically over the weekend, but yeah. Anyway, Will, let's talk New Orleans first. What are your thoughts here on the Pelicans?
Yeah, I think the Pelicans are going to be okay in this game. Do I expect Cleveland to win? I do, just because they've been a really tough team. But CJ McCollum, man, I mean, he just continues to play out of his mind. Didn't play or didn't have to do as much, it seems like, in this Detroit game. Only 19, 9, and 4. But outside of that, man, I mean, he's been putting up gaudy numbers. But with this team being such a slow pace, fairly good defensive team, even on a short slate, I think he's viable. But I don't know if I'm going to get there. I think we have better options. Like even Donovan Mitchell on the other side, I might be more apt to play just because of the discount and his scoring upside as well. So I think for this spot, CJ feels a little bit too expensive. You've still got Alvarado at $4K, who's going to get some minutes. Like maybe you sprinkle him in because he's cheap and he can get there. Like I don't hate some of these cheap plays. A Trey Murphy, something like that. And I know Trey Murphy, he's kind of been going off here the past couple of games at 4,800. I think he's somebody you should have some interest in just because of the situation. But in terms of the big pillar CJ, I don't think I can pull it off even on a 5-game slate. It's very expensive for where his upside could be in a slower pace, slightly high defensive game.
Yeah, I mean, Cleveland, top 3 defensive team, just about every position, plays at the slowest pace in the NBA. This game's in Cleveland. They're going to try to slow this game down. New Orleans has kind of been playing a little bit slower with Zion out, something that, trending stats are something that you and I talk about a lot. Trending stats are one of our favorites. But yeah, I mean, for me on New Orleans with this matchup against Cleveland, it's really tough to have interest. I will say, like, if Herb Jones sits, maybe going back to our boy Valanciunas, absolutely crushed for us on Friday against Detroit. Hopefully you listen to us on the point rebound prop because he had it in the first half. Smashed in that game. If Herb Jones sits, I don't mind Valanciunas. If Herb Jones is out, maybe, like you said, Murphy. Maybe it's even like a Larry Nance if Herb Jones sits. But, I mean, I'm not going out of my way to play a lot of Pelicans in this spot. On the Cleveland side, I mean, it's kind of a different story. I think this is a good matchup for Cleveland. We'll have to see what Golden State is doing. They're on the second end of a back-to-back. So are they going to sit some guys here? And that kind of eliminates, some potential studs on the slate. So maybe I am, getting some, exposure to the Cleveland studs in this game. What are your thoughts here on the Cavs?
Yeah, Garland does feel cheap. But I do think his price is appropriate with Donovan Mitchell being there. Now, if Mitchell was out, excuse me, man, I think we'd have a slightly different discussion. But at 7,500, I think it's fair. I think you can take some shots on it. I still think he's got upside at that price. Donovan Mitchell, 9,200. He's been a scoring machine in a lot of these games. We saw him put up 46 against Utah, 26 against Portland. I know he only had 14 against Minnesota, but this is a guy that, we've seen just really push the envelope, 25, 30 real points. So I'll consider him for sure against the Pelicans. I think one of the interesting things for me in this spot, Stevie, is Jared Allen is 5,900. Like, doesn't that seem too cheap even against JV? Like, he's probably like the play here. That's just too cheap for his upside. So I think he's the number one target on this team.
I like the price for him. I have him and like Mitchell as like the two guys I'm wanting to target. And like the Pelicans are a good defensive team too. Like you have two really good defensive teams, battling it out here. So it's hard to like stack this game, but on the flip side of that, it's a 5-game slate. 5-game slate. So, I'm definitely going to get some exposure here. I like the price on Allen. I don't even hate like Mobley if you're not playing Allen. I think one of those guys could have a really solid game here. I mean, Valanciunas is potentially only slowing one of them down, and like whoever's left to get the other one. So, I don't mind taking a shot on Mobley or Allen. I probably make a group and don't play them more than one of them on a team.
Yeah, I get that for sure.
Anything else from this game?
Negative.
All right, we're moving on. We got Toronto at New York facing the Knicks, 224.5 total. The Knicks a 3-point favorite in this one. I mean, the Knicks are good to go health-wise. Toronto, I mean, Otto Porter Jr. is out. Van Vliet is questionable. But, I mean, we're looking at two pretty healthy teams. We'll go Toronto first. I mean, if Van Vliet sits, that definitely opens some stuff up here for Toronto. I think Flynn at 3K would be someone that, we're looking at. OG at 6,400. But, I mean, Siakam in New York, Madison Square Garden, It's hard not to have interest in him in this spot. He's averaging 58 fantasy points against this team in 2 matchups already this season. If Van Vliet's out, Scotty Barnes has been someone that has just been fantastic here recently. His usage gets a nice little bump. What are your thoughts here on Toronto?
So, yeah, when it comes to the Raptors, I think, this is, some potentially good news here, because if Van Vliet is out, I think it's only going to strengthen Siakam and some of these other guys. Now, I do understand that Malachi Flynn will probably get more minutes, or Delonte Banton. Like, one of these guys, Delano Banton, one of these guys will probably pick up some minutes. I'm going to side with Flynn. I think Flynn would be the guy that picked up the big minutes, and at 3K, essentially, Steve, I think he would become the de facto or the value play on this slate at 3K. Like, I think he'd almost be a lot button. So that's kind of where I am here with Toronto. Now, they've got some secondary pieces like Gary Trent at 5,500, who is probably an okay play anyway, just okay. I don't think it's great. If Van Vliet is out, he may still just be okay, but he'd probably be a little bit more viable because of he should have maybe a touch more scoring upside in terms of real points. OG's just been okay. Scotty Barnes has just been okay. The main target here would be Pascal Siakam at 10-1, who has immense upside in scoring, rebounding, assisting. He's been doing it all. Even the other night, and this was a lower scoring game for him. Stevie just didn't shoot efficient from the field. 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 block. Fouled out with 6 personal fouls at 34 minutes, only had 15 points. He shot 5 for 16, and he's been shooting more like 10 for 16. So he hits 10 more real points. He's at 43 fantasy points, and he fouled out. So he only played 34 minutes, where he's been playing more like 36 to 38. So he probably racked up a few more fantasy points. I love Siakam in this spot here. Martin Luther King Day, Madison Square Garden, big stage. Let Spicy P cook.
If Van Vliet gets ruled out too, Siakam has a 31% usage rate, averaging 1.42 fantasy points per minute with Van Vliet off the floor. Biggest bump. Second biggest bump would be OG. Third biggest bump would be Gary Trent, for what it's worth.
Yeah.
New York's side of this one, I mean, the Knicks are healthy. Like, they've been in and out. Some guys have been in and out here recently. But now, like, we're getting a healthy Knicks team. Jalen Brunson looks fantastic. Julius Randle is coming off of a monster game against Detroit. And Will, we talked about Valanciunas the other day against Detroit. Like, just keep playing bigs against Detroit. Like, don't stop.
Don't stop. Get it.
Yeah, it's a thing, man. So,
it's a vibe.
Yeah, they're expensive, but 5-game slate, raw points matter. What are we doing here with the Knicks?
So, quick question. How do you feel about, and I know you just literally asked me a question. I'm posing a question back. How doesn't Mitch Rob at 5,300? He's very enticing here, I think. Like, how do you feel about Mitch Robin? And I'll cover myself. I like Mitch Rob today. What are your thoughts?
They need his size in this game. He's someone that has played 29 minutes in 2 matchups against them this season. So they definitely need his size in this game. I think I like that call. I'm on it. Like, he just played 35 minutes against them on the 6th. That was 9 days ago. 10 days ago if you're listening to this on Monday morning. So I like that call. I mean, his minutes have been super consistent. This game should be very competitive. Yeah, I can get on board with that. Sorry, I got distracted. Like, somehow, like, Huntley just fumbled on the goal line and Cincinnati ran it back for a touchdown.
Oh yeah, I'm not even paying attention.
Yeah, I got super distracted. Like, it looks, so at first glance, it looks like a clear fumble and recovery for a touchdown. I don't know if it was a block on the back on the 20-yard line on Andrews there, but kudos to Mark Andrews for trying to run that dude down. But yeah, it looks like a legit touchdown. Super distracted. Baltimore looked like they were about to take the lead. They were on like the 1-yard line, 2-yard line, and then Cincinnati just they're good. They're kicking the extra points. That's crazy. The football games this weekend have been crazy. The Jags game was wild. That was such a Chargers thing to do. Anyway.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of
So
course.
back to basketball. I'm with you. I like the Mitch Rob price. I mean, Julius Randle's ceiling just seems massive. He's averaging 53. This is a game that, like, you could probably get low ownership on stacking because it's kind of expensive, but I do like this game a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm with you. Like, you know me, Stevie. I like competitive games anyway. It is expensive, like you said. I think Mitch Rob gives us, the ability to have a little bit of flexibility. I know Julius is at 10-3, RJ 69. Brunson is 85, and Brunson's still been playing well, like putting up monster numbers here. Brunson's probably a sneaky tournament play here. It's just, man, at some point his upside's got to be capped, right? Like, but then I go and look, Stevie, like just the other night, big game, don't get me wrong, but Randall, 71 fantasy points, right? You got RJ. He only had 18. And then Brunson had, I think, 45-ish, something like that. I think that's what it was. 43. And then I think we saw in the previous game, it was kind of the Brunson and RJ show. And Randall was the one that took a hit, but that was more for inefficiency. So I feel like on a day-to-day basis, the answer is Randall and forego the other two. And I think that's how I approach this slate.
Golden State at Washington taking on the Wizards. 232.5 total here. Warriors favored by 3. They rolled out Klay Thompson, so we know he's not going to play. They did say, again, this is like the morning of Sunday's game. They did say that like Curry would play both games of the back-to-back. So
yeah,
we'll see if that actually happens. But we know Klay's not going to play. Curry's supposed to play. Anything can change that. But on the Washington side, Bradley Beal upgraded to questionable night before injury report. He's questionable instead of out. As far as like Golden State, I mean, we'll see on like Draymond and these guys, Wiggins, but I would assume everyone plays outside of Klay. I would assume Draymond plays. I would assume Wiggins plays. I don't think Trey plays, but or not Trey, Thompson, Klay. Wow. Golden State side first here, Will. Curry playing and no Klay Thompson. Jordan Poole 7'9" seems kind of pricey for him, even without Klay on the floor. He does have some upside. I mean, I don't hate Wiggins at 66. He's the guy that I think could really benefit from Klay being off the floor. But, I mean, the man that could benefit here is Mr. Chef. Mr. Chef Curry. He's gonna whip up some Curry here on a Monday.
Yeah, man. 10-4 playing against Washington. Gonna have immense upside. I mean, this is a game where, he could just go slap off, Stevie. He could go slap off. Like, it's Washington. They're not playing great defense. Guys just keep sitting. He's probably the tournament target on this slate. Don't you think? Like, out of all the guys that could just put you to sleep, which Randall has this crazy upside too, but Curry, man, just baked in so much with the 3-point shooting, the scoring. He's so involved, and it's a matchup with Washington. Love Curry here.
Yeah, I like Curry too. I don't mind Poole or Wiggins as like secondary pieces. I don't mind Draymond as like a secondary piece. I could see Draymond like maybe handling the ball, getting like a double-double, like assist type of game. So I don't hate that. The Washington side of this one, I mean, Porzingis and Kuzma are so expensive if Beal comes back. I don't know. Hamstring injury. If Beal comes back, does he play his normal minutes? Like, Bradley Beal just can't stay healthy right now. What are your thoughts here on the Washington side?
So if Porzingis plays, he's sneaky, Stevie. Like, at 9,100, He just played the Knicks, he played the Pelicans, but like we've seen his upside throughout the season, these big 60-point games. And Golden State has struggled with big men throughout the season. So he's on my list in terms of tournaments. Like I don't mind him at all. Like at all, Stevie. I wish Daniel Gafford was going to play 25 to 28 minutes in this game. I would be all over Daniel Gafford as well. But I'm not sure if he is. I think Golden State may run him off the floor. So I'm a bit afraid of that, which kind of gives me some interest in a guy like Rui Hachimura or Denny Avdia, like those two guys, because if they run him off the floor, then I think those two will see slight increases in minutes. And so, those are the cheaper pieces, and I think I've got some interest in them. Morris is 4,800. He's cheap enough, like playing almost 30 minutes. I think you can get some shares of him as well. I feel like he's a safe 4,800 if you get what I'm saying. Whereas Denny and Rui might be more of an upside 4K player. Morris is more of a safe 4K player where it feels like he's going to get you 25, maybe have upside for 30 on a good day.
Yeah, I worry about Gafford too. Playing a full allotment of minutes.
God, I wish he was playing like 28 minutes in this game, though, Stevie. He'd be a smash play.
Yeah, I mean, they're not even giving them that type of run right now in close games. Like, yeah, you would have thought
not with Porzingis back. Like he had a couple games where he was pushing 28, but Porzingis was out. He's not going to see that with him back. I just wish they would do it.
I don't even hate Porzingis in this game. Like if you're playing like a Curry, like if you're playing like a Curry team and want to run it back with like a Porzingis, I mean, I would run it back with probably Kuzma or Porzingis if Beal is out. So interesting game. Like it has a pretty high total. It should be competitive, especially with Golden State on the second end of a back-to-back. I don't even know. I think it becomes more competitive. Like if Bradley Beal plays. But yeah, moving on. We got Miami at Atlanta. This game has a 223.5 total. The Heat are a 1.5 point favorite. On the Atlanta side, Capella upgraded to questionable here on the night before injury report. Miami side, Kyle Lowry is out. Duncan Robinson is out. Yurt 7 is out. And Caleb Martin is questionable. Miami first. I like this game a lot for Miami. I think this is a fantastic spot for Miami. It's just figuring out who I want to play. Like Tyler Hero is 8,200. That's a really steep price tag. Jimmy Butler, this seems like a fantastic spot for him, but the guy that I keep leaning to, Will, is Victor Oladipo. No Kyle Lowry. 35-minute Victor Oladipo at 6,100. I mean,
oh man,
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
No, I get it. I wish he was still in that 5K range. Gosh, but 35 minutes, he's putting up pretty much 35 plus fantasy points, and that's more than enough at 6,100 on a small slate. So I get it. He's playing Atlanta. Should be an up and down game. Trey's playing, so that's going to keep it fairly competitive anyway. I don't hate Bam in this spot either, like at 8,700. I think he's got a little bit of upside. So Max Struss has been interesting.
Yeah, he was the other guy that I was going to talk about.
He's playing big minutes. I think you play him for the minutes and hope he has the scoring output out of the guys. Because last game, Gabe Vincent just went nuts in the first half, Stevie. He had 21 points in the first half, and he's had 2 games back-to-back with 40-plus fantasy points, and it's because they're playing so many minutes. So this may be the game where you play them both. You could take Gabe and Struss and maybe pair them with one of the Miami guys, so maybe Oladipo, Jimmy, or Bam, and kind of roll it from there. But those guys, they're getting so many minutes, I think you have to consider them.
Yeah, with Lowry already ruled out, I think Struss is just too cheap. Like, he's gonna play big minutes. Fantastic matchup. I think like as much as I like Butler and Bam in this game, I think this is where I just kind of lean more towards some value on the Miami side and hope those guys just don't go for like 50. Could they? Sure. I mean, yeah. On the Atlanta side, Trae Young probable for this game. Obviously, he's your ceiling guy here. DeJounte Murray, 8,100. I like him when Trae sits, but tough matchup for Okongwu in this one. Maybe this is a spot you lean more on like John Collins instead of Okongwu. Don't love the price tag on John Collins. Maybe it's Bogdanovich, getting some wing minutes here, but really for me on Atlanta, I'm struggling to, get a ton of exposure to anyone outside of maybe Trae Young.
Yeah, I know, man. Okongwu's playing so many minutes. It's just that's what makes me at least want to have him in a few bills. Like it's just the minutes.
No, I agree with that. Yeah, minutes wise.
Gosh,
especially on a 5-game slate, you can throw matchups out the window and just say, "Hey, I'm going to take shots on this guy."
Yeah. Trae's okay. I mean, DeJounte, man, he put up 50 the other night. Let's call it 49 on the dot against Toronto. And I know he has the upside, Stevie, but it's just I feel like we don't see it consistently. It's like once every 7 or 8 games we're getting some upside, and I just 8,100 I do think is a fair price. Like he's playing the minutes, but I'm with you. Bogdanovich feels like kind of this I don't want to call it sneaky, but the cheap guy that could get you 30 plus. Just kind of throw him in the bucket with Struss and Vincent and Oladipo, and we're right there. So I like him. I don't love some of the others. Like Trae is just okay for me at 9,500. I know he's big upside there at home. And Stevie, I may just have to play the narrative card here, man. Like State Farm is big on Martin Luther King. Of course, Atlanta's had MLK jerseys like during the season, not just for that. So I know I've seemingly changed my mind. I feel like Atlanta might have a little something more to play for here. Give me Trae Young on this slate. I like Trae sneakily for a big game here.
There you go. You're with me. Trae Young. We're on board. We're in. We got there in different ways, but we got there.
Yeah.
It all led us to the road to Minnesota, where we finished it out. Sorry, Vikings fans. Just want to say that someone in YouTube chat, what's up, YouTube? Hope everyone's having a fantastic weekend. Someone in YouTube chat during the football show asked us to pick our underdogs to win, and we picked the Jags and the Giants. So the Jags one was wild. It was wild. Made some jelly beans on the Jags game, Will. Might have bet them at the 2-minute warning. May have happened. I don't know. Cannot disclose these things. But yeah, might have bet them to win. So just saying. Anyway, we got Utah at Minnesota. This game is at a 230.5 total. The Timberwolves are a 2.5-point favorite in this one. On the Minnesota side, Edwards and Gobert are questionable. McLaughlin remains out. Towns is still out. And Prince is questionable. On the Jazz side, Rudy Gay is questionable. Markkanen is questionable. And Kelly Olynyk is out. We'll go Utah first. Luckily, like, we only have like we have an hour window in between like what we're looking at for like lock and stuff between the first and last game on the slate. So we should have news here as far as like the Utah side. Cause I mean, if Markkanen is out, it changes. Yeah. Like Markkanen out changes the entire slate. Like Vanderbilt becomes a fantastic value play. Kessler's already a really solid value play. Even a bigger value play if Rudy Gobert ends up sitting in this game on the other side. So Utah is really interesting. If Markkanen is out, Clarkson might be my favorite play on the slate. Like, I already like him in this matchup, but I like him a lot more if Markkanen doesn't play.
Yeah, and what I was going to say too, Stevie, we might actually get this news before the 3 o'clock games because the official injury report comes out at 2 o'clock, doesn't it?
1
Isn't
o'clock.
it 1 o'clock? 1 o'clock. Yeah.
1:30. 1:30, I think. 1:30.
Yeah. We split the difference. So either way, like, I got to think since they know the game's so early, they're going to be 3 hours or a couple hours out. Let's call it a few hours out, for that game. It feels like they would try, if they know for sure he's not going to go, I think he might come out as out on the initial injury report. I know it's Martin Luther King Day. I know these guys want to play, so I get it. I'm just kind of talking through it. We may get it before it, if so, that'll definitely help us. But I'm with you. You know, Clarkson is in play anyway. Mike Conley, I think, is in play as well, even at 5,400. And Colin Sexton, I like him at 4,200, coming off the bench. But he's got a little bit of upside, you know, with
maybe he gets a few extra minutes too if Markkanen doesn't play.
Yeah, for sure. And if Markkanen is out, Stevie, like it's Jarrett Vanderbilt time, isn't it? Like I know Walker Kessler's already going to play, but if Markkanen is out, like Jarrett Vanderbilt's going to play 30 plus minutes in this game. And at that point, I'm in.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing that concerns me about Vanderbilt is if Markkanen sits, do they go to like Horton Tucker like they did the other night when he sat? Like out of nowhere, THT played, 28 minutes or something like that?
Yeah.
So it's just one of those situations where you could take shots on both of them if you're making multiple lineups. THT being 3,600 on a slate where we don't have a ton of value. It would be fantastic if Markkanen sits. He played really good the other night. Like, wasn't it? He shot like 5 for 10 from the field and like was 8 for 10 from free throw, like the free throw line. Like, he ran really well. We know he has upside though. We've played him before in the past. Was it the Lakers he was with? So yeah, I mean, if Markkanen's out, it changes the entire slate. I do like the Colin Sexton call a lot though.
Yeah.
Minnesota side, I mean, Saturday? Was it Saturday? Gobert left the game early. I think it was Saturday. So, you know, if he were to sit here, we'll have to kind of see. Anthony Edwards is questionable, but he's been questionable for like a week and a half, and he's played every single time. So I kind of assume that Edwards plays. The fact that Gobert left the game on Saturday and didn't come back concerns me more for him to play in this game than it does for Edwards. So I like Edwards in this game. Utah is a fantastic team to target. This game has one of the highest totals on the slate. The pace in this game is going to be fantastic. You know, Utah, a team that likes to push the pace. And I mean, Minnesota is no team that doesn't, you know, well, they're 7th, I think. So they're going to try to push the pace as well. And we got to love targeting Utah Jazz. They're bottom 5 team in defense. This is a great spot. So I like Edwards a lot. I like Russell. If Gobert is out, man, flip a coin, but I would assume it would be Naz Reid. I would assume he'd get the start, and I assume that would be where we would end up. So,
at 4,900, you already know, and he's all forward center eligible, so we could play him in the forward spot, the power forward spot, the center spot, the utility spot. He'd be our Swiss Army player today.
Playing wherever you want. What are your thoughts overall on Minnesota here, Will?
Yeah, if Gobert sits, Naz Reid is in play, and Stevie, I feel like every time we have a pod together, Anthony Edwards is on this slate, and we're like, God, are they just going to sit this man so he can get a day and try to heal up completely? And they play him every time, and so he's definitely
not the other night.
Yeah, so he's definitely not sitting today. I mean, they're giving him the LeBron James, Anthony Davis treatment. He's going to be questionable the whole season. At 8,300 though, where his price has come down, Stevie, like, you know,
now's the time to jump on it.
Oh man, like sign me up against Utah. Like sign me up. I'm in. I think this whole game is undervalued. Like, look at D'Angelo Russell at 6,700. Like, this is too cheap. Minnesota has some really good value here. McDaniels 4,600. I'll take that. I think this may be the game stack of the day if Gobert sits. If Gobert and Markkanen sit, I'm sorry.
Yeah, this game is fantastic either way. I mean, it has the highest totals, but going back, like, I really like that Knicks game. You know, now that we're like through the 5 games and like we talked it out and stuff, I really like the Knicks game a lot. And I really like Cleveland. I think this is a fantastic spot for the Cavs. So interesting and fun daytime NBA slate. Let's play the morning grind game, and then we will get out of here. Favorite play under 5K to go 7X. Who do you got today?
Under 5K to go 7X. Probably should have been writing this down as we were going.
Kind of fun.
Give me Colin Sexton. Give me Colin Sexton.
I was gonna say, that's 100% who I thought you were gonna pick. For what it's worth, I'm gonna go Trey Murphy. I think he'd be really, really solid today, especially like if Herb Jones doesn't end up playing. Over 8K to go under 5X. Who's your bust at the top today?
Give me CJ McCollum.
Yep. Can I just say yes and like double team that one? I'll go Tyler Hero, but it's CJ McCollum.
Yeah.
Like CJ McCollum could, if he breaks the slate, he's going to be very low owned. But I don't know even how much exposure I'd get to him running like 150 teams today. Like, I'd play him some game theory for sure, but I don't know how much I get to him today, even on running a bunch of teams. Favorite 6X play today, Will?
Yeah. This was a tough one for me. I'm going a little bit off the board because I think this guy's just too cheap. Give me D'Angelo Russell, whether Gobert's in or out. Like at 6,700, I think it's too cheap.
All right. Give me Victor Oladipo for 6X.
I knew that was your guy. I knew it. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, the matchup doesn't get much better. So I like him a lot today. But yeah, Victor Oladipo is my guy today. Let's get weird GPP play of the day. 5 game slate. Someone you think is going to be low owned today?
Man, I'm not sure how low owned he's going to be because of the price. But give me Darius Garland at 7,500.
Max Strus is probably going to be popular, right?
Playing 40 minutes. Gosh, feels like he's good. Yeah.
I think he's going to be popular. Give me Jarrett Allen. I don't know if he'll be popular or not, but I like him for tournaments today. I just realized I didn't put a hat on. I don't ever do podcasts without a hat. I just now realized I didn't have a hat on, and I'm looking at
slip one on real quick.
All right. Got my hat on. Serious now. Any bets standing out to you here night before? Anything that you might be looking at tomorrow and being like, I need to see what this line comes at it?
Honestly, probably Trae Young for me. I want to see if he comes out at like 26.5 in terms of points.
Yeah, I looked on a couple of different places because I wanted to see what his prop was going to be, and I wanted to see what Anthony Edwards' prop was going to be. I really, really like this spot for Anthony Edwards today. So I wanted to see where they were going to come in. So kind of the two guys that I was looking at as well. All right, that's it. Have any final thoughts before we get out of here, Mr. Priester?
No, sir. I am good to go, man, and thanks for bringing me on as usual, and it's a great day in the neighborhood.
It sure is, my friend. It sure is. Always fun hanging out, chatting some sports with you. If you guys haven't already, rotogrinders.com/discord. Get in Chiefs Prop Shop. It's just so much fun. It's a great community. The joint sweat, as my good buddy Will Priester will say, the joint sweat is fun. So that's going to wrap it up here for Monday's podcast. We'll be back tomorrow talking some more hoops. Hope everyone has a fantastic day and hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. We'll see you again tomorrow.